Still connected.
Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Davidson, the CEO and co-founder of Orders, and we connect community through providing the same day grocery delivery from local shops. We've been doing this for a few years now. We just launched in London 2 months ago. And today we're here for a special event. We've got 2 special people here today who I'm going to hand over to tell you more about what we're doing today.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Davidson. Good evening. I'm Charlotte Oladipo. I'm the CEO of Food for Purpose. We're a nutrition and wellness company, and part of our portfolio is working with organizations like Davidson's, where we deliver culturally relevant cooking sessions. Tonight I'm working with Chef Abby. Say hi to everyone, Chef Abby.
Hello.
And we will be preparing a darling dish from the Caribbean, and it's called rundown. We'll talk about the history of that. So, ladies and gents, get your hands washed, get your aprons on, and we will swap places so that Chef Abby can do what she does best. You're very welcome. Please do post questions on the chat. I'm a dietitian with lots of years of experience, so please feel free to post questions. We'll try our best to answer your questions. Tonight, if you are in the kitchen, please cook along. And if you're not, of course, you can repeat this later and watch the video via the Orders website. So thank you, Davidson. Thank you, Auntie Abby. Please take your post, and I'll just tell the lovely people about tonight's recipe. So if you want to take your center stage. So tonight, our dish is from the beautiful Caribbean. It's the Caribbean, obviously we know, isn't a country. It's about 30 different islands, and rundown is a classic dish made differently across the different islands. So it's really important that tonight is probably typical of Jamaica, but for instance, if we look at some of the other islands, they make rundown very differently. So for instance, Grenada, they actually call it oil down. And history says that rundown actually comes from Grenada. I don't know if this is true, but to all the Grenadans out there, welcome to oil down. Now, it can be made as a vegetarian dish, but tonight we'll be doing it with fish. And first of all, what we'll be doing is we'll be using some lovely sea bream. So we've got some sea bream here. At the moment, ladies and gentlemen, fish is expensive out there. And what we'll be doing, Auntie Abby will be giving the fish a lovely clean, so we'll actually use it in this shape. So what we've done is we've asked the fishmonger to slice it nicely, take away the lovely scales. Yeah, so Auntie Abby's just going to give it a nice, not filleting.
Okay.
You might want to fillet at home, but you know what, we're not going to fillet because sea bream, you know, he's a gentle guy. It's a gentle fish. It's a very sensitive taste. It's quite low in fat. And what we want to do is Mr. Sea bream is be kind to him and not break him up, because he tends to like fall apart a little bit in the pot. Now, a lot of people use mackerel to make rundown. Typically, they use mackerel. Mackerel is Mr. Mackerel's got a very strong flavour, and it's a bit more solid, a bit more of a meaty fish, and it tends to hold its own. So what Auntie Abby's doing now is to give the fish a nice clean, because we don't like the slime, do we? But as I was saying, you know, sea bream now, like, we paid like £10 for like 4. And the sea breams are really little, so this is actually 2. So if you're cooking for your family, with £10 you can get 4 of them, and 2 would probably feed about 4 people if you're managing your portion sizes. Mackerel is an oily fish, so it's got those fantastic oils that are good for our heart and help against inflammation, and it's a little bit cheaper. So mackerel is like 3 for £6. They're a good buy. It's quite a meaty fish in terms of the texture, but it does have a strong flavour. So tonight, in terms of our rundown, it might not taste as fishy as some of the others because of the gentleness of sea bream. We could have used red bream as well, which is an uncle or a cousin to sea bream. And actually the bream family they've got sea bream, they've got red bream, they've got other breams. But you could use any other fish you like. So I know some people might even use tilapia, some people might even use salmon. But we're going a little bit traditional tonight by using bream, but please feel free to use any other fish. So tonight, you know, oil down or rundown is very much what you'd probably call in very basic terms like a coconut stew. And although we're using tinned coconut milk tonight, and we're using a low-fat version, so we're keeping that cultural richness, but we're keeping the fat lower. So 1 tin of light coconut milk has about 50% less of the fat than the normal full full fat versions. So it is light. You don't miss out on that cultural taste, but you will miss out certainly on that extra saturated fat, which is good because we don't want it. So our ingredients list tonight is our sea bream, 450 grams. As I said, that's about 2 sea brims or probably 1 very large mackerel. And we're using our lemon just to wash away the slime from our fish. And then we've got our coconut milk. So as I said, low-fat coconut milk is what we're using tonight. A lot of people say to me, oh, Shola, what about coconut cream? So the thing with the coconut cream or the block is, the reason it's a block is because there's so much fat in it. So you could use the block, but we really recommend that you try the coconut milk, the light version. The good thing about it when you shop at Aldi or Lidl, because we're not pushing any brands here today, it's about 79p. And what we often find is that the light versions are not always available in all shops, but we do know in some of the lower costing shops they are available. Now, when you go into the market, and I had a quick look through my local market today in the stores, the African Caribbean stores, none of them have low-fat coconut milk. So you might have to go into the supermarket to get your coconut milk. What we're using is 2 tins tonight of low-fat or light coconut milk, and the good thing, as I said, is the light coconut milk doesn't cost any more than the regular. So we'll use coconut milk. We'll also use some spring onions tonight, and it smells very oniony in here because Auntie Abby's chopped the white onion and the garlic. We'll use some spring onions here. A good friend of mine from the Caribbean said, Shola, if you're not using scallions or spring onions, you are not cooking. And our person behind the camera is smiling away because I believe that's a Caribbean rule, right? If you ain't using scallions, you ain't cooking. So tonight we are cooking and we're using scallions. As you notice, this is a really big bottom, bit of a fatty. And these are more of the salad onions. And I noticed in my local market that they didn't have the small bulbs. Doesn't make a difference at all. And again, tonight, what we'll recommend is you can use the floppy tops. So some people don't like to use them. They don't, look very, very nice. It's good to give them a really good wash, and we'll use the whole onion and the bulb. So we'll just give Auntie Abby a chance. We're going to keep our veg a bit chunky. So we'll keep our veg, just a bit chunky. But if you like it, quite finely chopped at home, it's fine. But we're going to keep it quite chunky because, as I said, it's pretty much like a soup. So we're going to go in with some white onion, some spring onion. We're also going to have some lovely thyme. So we've got some beautiful fresh thyme. You can use the dried thyme, it works just as well. But I don't know, just the fresh, so just give it a bit of, je ne sais quoi, so it's lovely to have the fresh thyme. We've got our garlic. Now, if you received the download of the menu, of the recipe, you'll see that it says 20 grams of garlic. And you're thinking, what are you talking about? What's 20 grams of garlic? Well, that's about 3 to 4 cloves, depending on the size. So we used about 3 large cloves. So just in case you're wondering, what are you talking about? And the same thing with the peppers. We're using bell peppers, 170 grams. And you're thinking, what's that? 170 grams is about 2 medium-sized peppers. And we are also, so our pepper was going to stay whole. So that needed to not be broken. But yes, it makes it a bit too spicy, but it's okay. So normally, we would also use what we call a Scotch bonnet pepper. On the recipe, it says keep it whole, because if you burst it, it's going to release the heat. Well, tonight, we're going to enjoy the heat, so yeah. So we've got some tasters here. We'll enjoy the heat, but at home, please do. The Scotch bonnet pepper is the little red one. It's very, very high on the Scoville scale. The Scoville scale is the scale that we use to measure the hotness of peppers. So it's up there in the scale. So if you do, struggle with the heat, don't burst him. Mr. Scotch bonnet is a bad guy. So just put it in and take it out. But tonight we've chopped it up, so we're going to have some extra heat. And then we're using very little salt tonight. And we're also going to be showing you how we manage some of the healthy eating principles. So I'm going to let Auntie Abby get along so she can look at her recipe. And basically there are 4 principles tonight for our healthy cooking. So with the cooking, we want you to enjoy your cultural dishes because that's really important, but we do want to bring in the health aspect. So we want to ensure that we're increasing our vegetables. We want to ensure that we're lowering our fat, so we're doing that with our coconut milk. We also want to be sure that we're not using too much salt. So we are using salt, but we're going to be dropping the amount. We're going to be using 1 teaspoon for the whole recipe. And we also want to ensure that we're increasing fibre. So tonight we're making a fish-based rundown. You can have a vegetarian one where you can add lots of other vegetables, and I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. We'll just get out of Auntie Abby's way because we want to get the spring onion nicely chopped up as well, and we'll pop that all into our pot. So what are you doing this evening? What are you doing at home this evening? Are you curled up? Are you watching? Are you looking at how Auntie Abby's preparing this? Are you thinking about, I need to have a word with Davison and get this recipe going? What are you doing tonight? Perhaps you, like me, just need to have a quick cup of tea or coffee right now, and that's okay too, while we're chopping. Okay.
You could drop like what you're doing tonight on the
Yeah. Drop it in there. What are you doing? What are you doing today? It's Friday night. Apart from watching us, what else are you doing tonight? Alright, so now we talked about the 4 principles. So increasing our veggies, managing our salt. So a lot of our recipes are reminiscent of the true traditions. We want to keep the tradition and the flavour, but we're trying to manage health, and therefore we're dropping our salt, spray oil, which just means that when you use an aerosol of oil, you can reduce the amount that you need for frying, and you can still get I like innovation. Why not buy yourself an empty spray bottle at home and pour your oil into it, and then you can decide how much you use. Some people, when they do buy the spray bottles, you can add your own seasoning to it. You can add thyme, you can add some sage leaves, you can add some rosemary, and have your own flavoured oil at home. So now all of our veggies are chopped up, and we're going to start to make the base of our rundown. So, Auntie Abby, this is your pot for your rundown. That's going to be for our rice. Lovely. So our cooker is here. Let's see. Yep. That's for this side. And what we like in our pot is we're going to do some spray oil. Awesome. So see, I'm going to be Auntie Abby's assistant tonight. She can give me a mark out of 10 to tell me how well I am doing. All right. So remember I said for this spray oil, about 1 spray of the spray oil is about 25-30 calories. I'm just going to come round. Yes, you're a person saying, "Shola, behave yourself." Hey, okay. You don't want to get in trouble with the kitchen stuff. All right. So we've got our spray oil in there. If you can see, just to want to show the camera, Auntie Abby, it doesn't look much. It looks frightfully little. But the thing about oil is that a lot of the time we're taking too much and our food is over fried. We really don't need that. So what we're going to do is just wait for our oil to heat up. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. And then what we'll do is we'll saute our onion, our garlic and the bell pepper, and for about 2 to 3 minutes on a medium to high heat. Now, what are you cooking? Are you using induction? Are you using electricity or gas? I'm an old-fashioned girl. I love gas. What do you prefer, Auntie Abby?
Both.
Both. I prefer gas. With these ones, I can never tell how hot they are. Yeah. And then with the induction or convection ones, they're too expensive. Yeah. and the pots need to be a bit posh sometimes. The pots need to be a bit posh. Awesome. So we're just testing to see if it's hot enough. It might take a while to heat up, actually. So we'll just let that heat up for a bit. And tonight, I guess, one of the ingredients that really characterizes the beautiful Caribbean is pimento, or pimento seed, or allspice. I love pimento seed, and thank you, Davison.
No worries.
Pimento seed, you know, like, you want to give it a smell? What does it remind you of?
Some kind of flowery.
Flowery?
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, do you know what? Pimento seed reminds me of Christmas. When I smell it, I think of Christmas, and I don't know why. We'll just leave that there.
Christmas flowers.
Yeah, I love pimento seed. It's very typical of the Caribbean. If you don't have pimento seed, don't worry too much because it's called allspice. And so you can buy it as allspice. I prefer the seeds though. What we'll do tonight is we'll put the seeds whole. So they look like this. Somebody said, I didn't say it, but somebody said to me they look like droppings. I didn't say it all. Somebody said it, not me. But they are actually seeds. And what we'll do when Auntie Abby's ready is we will cook them. We'll cook with them whole, but we do have a pestle and mortar. You might have one at home, and you can crush it. You can crush it as well if you like. Awesome. How are we doing, Auntie Abby?
Fantastic.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely. And do you know what, guys? I don't want to make you jealous, but Davison, doesn't it smell amazing in here? Come on, it smells beautiful in here. You know something about me that when I'm cooking and the food is smelling, I start to dance. So wherever you are, if you want to dance a little, it's okay. And you have to be careful with the pepper. Oh, it smells so good. It smells so good, so good. Can I just say that this is a quick meal as well? It is one of those quick meals that you can do. It's Friday evening, you've been in the traffic in Brixton, you've got so much to do and you're thinking, what can I do? This is one that you can do. Auntie Abby, would you like us to pass you the coconut milk?
Yes, please.
Cool. Lovely. So I'll turn that down. Oh, okay. Lovely. It smells so nice in here. Cool. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you. So we're using the light versions, as we said. The recipe says that you need, let's see, 700 mils. So one tin is about 400 mils. And we're going to use the two. Remember, it's light. So do you want to just, so that people can, I don't know if you can see this in the camera. Yeah, just see. So the only difference is that it's lower in fat. So that, you know, there's, now, you know what, Auntie Abby, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my mum says, waste not, wants not. Which means that you see this tin here, we have to rinse it and put it in the pot. Thank you. Because it's waste not, wants not. Yes.
Welcome to this one.
Awesome. So if you look at this now, it's literally looking like a coconut soup, right? You can see the coconut milk, smelling beautiful. We're going to add we've added our coconut milk. Auntie Abby, we need our thyme. So we're going to add our thyme and our pimento. So I will give these to you. Have you added the thyme?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So we'll add, let's see, with our pimento seeds, it says 2 teaspoons, which is quite a lot actually of pimento. But I think we should go with about 6 to 8, yes. Now, obviously at home, if you like more, especially those of you that are well versed with cooking with it, bless you. If you're well versed with cooking with it, go with more. But we would say, yeah, about actually,
6.
yeah. Okay, maybe a few more. Maybe a few more. There you go, Auntie. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Lovely. Thank you, Auntie Abby.
More flavour.
Yeah, more flavour. Yeah, because it's. Can you see? Do you know one thing about our food is often we're always seasoning and throwing in this and throwing in that. Tonight the flavours are quite clean. So as you can see, we're not. Thank you, Davison. Auntie Abby, do you mind if I do waste not, wants not? Thank you, Auntie. Okay. So which means that, you know, we're rinsing out the tin. We're adding now more water. What we'll do is we'll give it time to reduce. That just means we'll give it extra time to boil down. All right, so we've got everything in the pot. So we've got our lovely onion, our garlic, our bell pepper, and Abby has sauteed it for 2 to 3 minutes. We've got our coconut milk, our thyme, our pimento, and we did, as I said, we did break our Scotch bonnet pepper, so we can put a little bit of it in, can't we, Auntie? Yeah, just half. Now, don't break yours at home unless you like that heat, all right? Because yeah, I don't think Davidson's going to be paying out no insurance to anybody who's got belly ache, okay? We want you, all right? Alrighty. So what we'll do is this will cook for about 10 minutes and we just need a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to grab a teaspoon. And we've got our salt here. So remember, when we're talking about controlling salt, people of certain cultures, particularly Black African and Black Caribbean communities, we have a higher propensity or risk towards high blood pressure or hypertension. So it's really important that we're trying to manage the salt. But what we're not saying is we're not saying no salt, because that would mean tasteless, boring food. That's not what we're about. We're about managing our health and therefore managing the salt. So we're just going to have 1 teaspoon of salt for the whole dish. Now, that's what it says on the recipe. You may be on a health journey whereby you're thinking, come on, Shoals, I'm not quite ready. So wherever you are in your health journey, if you've been using a lot more salt, we would still recommend, we wouldn't recommend that you go cold turkey and go from very high to very low because you may not enjoy the dish. However, what we would recommend is that, for instance, if you're using, I don't know, 2 or 3 teaspoons, for tonight, take away at least 1 teaspoon. All right? So we're going to use 1 teaspoon for this dish for 4. If you're eating a lot of salt, we would say that you think about reducing it quite markedly. Okay, and we're using, it's not, don't just love it when you're live, when things don't happen. So we probably use the granulated salt. So we've got the dispenser. We could do, yeah, we could do. We're just going to waste. This is not waste lot. No, this is not waste lot.
It's wasting a lot.
It's wasting a lot. I don't like the look of this. No, I don't like the look of this. So what we'll do is we'll just use the powdered salts just on the shelf.
Yeah. Okay.
Lovely, lovely. When you're live, you can't go back and say, can we erase that, please? But we just want to keep it real. We don't want to waste the salt. Thank you, David.
Does it matter which type of salt?
Good question. Oh, I love those questions. And we want those kind of questions online, don't we, Auntie Abby? We want people to ask us. So the thing about salt is... Yeah.
Salt is much better. You can control it.
I guess so, but in terms of the risk of hypertension, salt is salt. So at the moment, we have all of that in, Auntie. Can we put all of the, yeah, let's have all the, yeah.
Stop compromising.
So salt is salt. So people say, you know, what about pink Himalayan salt, black salt, table salt, crushed salt? Scientifically, salt is salt. And every salt, whether it's black salt, pink salt, white salt, rock salt, kosher salt, every gram of salt will have the same effect on your blood pressure. Really important. However, what makes it different is the taste to your palate. So, if we use pink Himalayan salt here today, I would still say use 1 teaspoon. There's no such thing as a healthy salt or a better salt, scientifically. They all taste different, but scientifically, all of them will raise your blood glucose. So please don't listen to the myths out there. No such thing as a healthy salt. Every salt has the same effect on your blood pressure. So use the salt that you like, but please bear in mind that the salt that we use today will have the same effect on blood pressure as if it was pink salt or black salt. There's no such thing as healthy salt. What we'll also say is that a lot of our seasonings that we use in our community, so everyday seasoning, chicken seasoning, jumbo, oxo, what are they? Salt. They're the same thing as salt. Don't believe me? Check the label. The word that you'll see is the word sodium, and that will show you that you have salt in that. So it's really important that we're cutting salt. When we're cutting salt, we're looking at managing the amount of salt that we're having because of health reasons, and also teaching ourselves, reteaching ourselves, because we were not born with a desire for salt. It is learned behavior. So we're taking ourselves back. And do you know what happens when people will often say to me, so Charlotte, if we take away the salt, what's my food going to taste like? My answer is, it's going to taste how nature invented it to taste. It's going to taste like itself. So when we cut the salt, you know, we taste the food as it really should be. So but don't go cold turkey. Put yourself on, you know, on a salt reducing diet for the sake of health. But let's not, you know, we don't want you to be miserable. We don't want to compromise the taste. Okay, so this is boiling nicely. We'll leave it on for about 10 minutes, and Auntie Abby will let you prepare the fish. So the fish will go in about 10 minutes, and then we'll be ready for the next stage. So look at this, isn't this, thank you, isn't this beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not going to touch it, Auntie Abby, because I don't want to spoil anything. But doesn't this look beautiful? Isn't it lovely? It really looks amazing. Now you might have noticed that sometimes when you see rundown, ours is very bright in colour. You might note that some rundown looks a bit orangey, and that's because they've added turmeric Turmeric is another season. We're not using turmeric tonight, but you might find, whichever of the islands that you're hailing from, if you're from the beautiful Caribbean, you might find that you do use turmeric, and that's fine, but we're not using it tonight, and that's why ours appears quite whitish in colour. So it's rundown if you're from Jamaica, if you're from Grenada, it's oil down. I don't know what else you call it. Can you put it in the chat if you're from the Caribbean and you have another name for rundown? In basic terms, it's pretty much like a very exotic coconut stewy sauce. Tonight we're using we're using sea bream if you're just joining us. You could use red bream. Red bream is a nice, meaty, firm fish. But ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, fish is expensive out there to die. So you could use mackerel. Mackerel is, reliable in terms of price. It's about about £6 or £7, which is really good in terms of cost of living. The thing about mackerel, remember, it's got a very strong presence, quite a strong taste, but otherwise great. And you can have a veggie rundown. So in a veggie rundown, you could have no fish, and you could have lots of veggies. So some of the veggies we'd recommend would be carrots, baby corn, cho-cho, or Christophine. Fantastic, yeah, you can eat cho-cho raw, you can eat it cooked. You could also add some courgette, you can add some aubergine. Some people actually add peas or green beans, and you can actually add chickpeas to get some protein in. So instead of having fish, you can add some chickpeas. That's a fantastic way of getting your veggies in, getting your five a day in, part of your 5 a day in, and also enjoying the fact that you don't eat meat or fish. Alrighty, so lovely. So we're going to, it's boiling a bit. We'll probably wait a bit for it to reduce a bit more. So the rundown, the whole idea of the rundown is that you allow it to run down, you allow it to boil down. Yeah, so we want this to thicken a little bit more. That smell, can you smell it?
Yeah.
It's alright, isn't it? It's smelling nice. So it'll probably run down to, or oil down to about, I couldn't wait. Can I? Auntie Abby, can I? Thank you.
I don't mind the taste as well.
Yes. You wait your turn.
Oh no.
What am I like? What am I like?
No.
Can I?
Yes.
You have to ask before you put the spoon in Auntie Abby's pot. Oh my day. Hallelujah. You know what? You can taste the kick of the pepper.
Yeah, I can taste that.
Just one.
It's a very simple, like I said, very simple dish. We want it to thicken up a little bit more so our fish is not sort of swimming. But yeah, literally, it's a rolling boil here. Like I said, very quick dish. What we'll do actually, Auntie, is perhaps we should start on our rice as well. So tonight we've got a tiny little bit of basmati rice that we're going to cook with this. Because this would be the main, in terms of the main protein. We've got our rundown, and we'll have our fish. And if you're having a veggie one, I talked about the vegetables and the chickpeas that you could add. I'm so tempted to double dip, but I won't. I know, right? But I would if I was at home. Don't tell my family. But what we're going to do is you'd serve this with, a carbohydrate of your choice. So from the Caribbean, typically people would have this. Oh, it's boiling over, it's boiling over. I'll just turn it down to 1. Oh. It's hot. Okay, so we go for this one, and that is. So this one. What's this one? Oops. We would. I don't know what I'm putting my hand on here. Like I've got some metal hands and some special insurance. I do believe it's this one. Yeah, it's coming on. Lovely. All right, so it's this side, Auntie. I'll just move out the way for you. So what we do is we'd have our rundown, typically with some carbohydrates. So a great carb to have it with is bami. And bami is cassava. It's like a cassava pate almost. A cassava patty. It's dried cassava. Then you'd steam it up very nicely. You can have it with rice. You can have it with some boiled plantain or some roast plantain. People have it with, tonight we're going to have it with rice, but out there at home, some people have it with some yams, they might have it with some boiled yams, some roasted yams. Tell us in the chat, what would you have your rundown with? And I do know, actually, we made this with a group a couple of years back, and it was really cold weather. We made the rundown, it was like a lovely soup. And we made a vegetarian version, and somebody said, you know what, I'd probably just have this as a soup. And it's nice and filling, it warms your belly. I really want to have another dip, so I'm going to rinse my spoon so that Auntie Abby doesn't tell me off, and I'm going to taste it again. But yes, you can have it with the carbohydrate of your choice. She says as she leaves the shop because she wants to wash her spoon. Delicious. Lovely. Auntie, do you mind if I dip again?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome to do so. As long as you wash your spoon.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you can taste the flavours really coming together, you know? It's
I like the strong coconut taste of it.
It's strong coconut, isn't it? And you can, you know what, Auntie? The fact that you broke the pepper doesn't matter because I can just feel the kick. So it's actually nice. It's not too, you know, like over creamy where you think, you want to have a tummy ache. I can taste the thyme. I can taste the pimento. I can taste it. It's actually a very simple, quite a clean dish and a lovely way actually to enjoy, you know, the beautiful reminiscence of the Caribbean.
It's kind of crazy that we just created this in such
short time.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's crazy like how much we.
Easy.
Amazing.
It really is a quick one and easily done. So if you're not, you know, if you're not the world's best cook, this is one for you to try. It really is. It really is. Okay, so the recipe is available on the Orders website. So Davidson, how can people get the recipe from Orders?
I'll send an email after. I can quickly run off now and just post it in the chat for you. So I'm going to pop off
Cool.
the shot right now and just post it in.
Brilliant.
So get the recipe.
Brilliant. And while Davidson is getting it, I'll just remind you what it is, just in case you just joined in. So we've got our sea bream, which is our fish, and do you remember I said you could use mackerel? Mackerel's a bit cheaper. You could red bream, sea bream. We use 2 tins of low-fat coconut milk, so the light coconut milk. We use 2 bell peppers, so we use 1 red, 1 green. To be honest, you could add more. Do you remember we said, you know, veggies are the things that we want to increase, so you could have added more peppers if you wanted to. We use 2, and that's according to the recipe. We use 30 grams of spring onion, which is the big fat spring onion, but that would have been about 4 or 5 of the little skinny ones. And see how we chopped that up finely, so that's in there. We used 1 onion, 1 white onion, so 150 grams on the recipe is like 1 medium onion. We use 4 grams of thyme. What does that mean? We just use some sprigs of fresh thyme, probably about half a teaspoon, but we use the fresh thyme because, you know, we like that bit of we used about 3 cloves of garlic, and again, you know, there's no rules with garlic really. If you like your food very garlicky, you could use more. We used our pimento berries. So Auntie Abby we added about, how many did we add?
About 10.
So we added about 10 pimento seeds. They went in whole, but you can use the pestle and mortar if you like to beat it into a powder. We used just 1 teaspoon of salt, and I have to say that it tastes fine with 1 teaspoon of salt. Is that okay? Yeah. We used 1 teaspoon of salt, and we used 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. Normally we said keep the pepper whole. We chopped up our pepper tonight, which is fine because you can do if you like the heat. And so far our rundown is boiling really nicely. So Auntie's now put it on a lower heat just to gently reduce the sauce and reduce the fluid. We'll give it a little bit more time. What we'll do is our fish has been nicely cleaned with some lemon. We haven't done too much with our fish actually. We're going to add our fish neat. Some people might want to add a little bit of seasoning. We've actually got a little bit of salt sitting on our tray. You don't have to add the salt. Remember, we're looking at lowering salt, but if you're on a salt journey and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not quite there, then just remember to reduce the amount that you are using. So we're not salting our fish. And then we'll add our fish shortly. As you know, fish doesn't need too much in terms of cooking for too long. We'll put it in there for a few minutes and then it'll be good to go. So we're boiling some rice on the side, so we'd like you to see the finished dish. So Auntie Abby's just boiling some rice. Now,
Wash the starch.
lovely. Okay, so Auntie Abby's washed her rice, and we often do hear actually that people like to wash away the starch in their rice, and again it's a little bit of an urban myth. It's very difficult to wash starch out of rice because rice is full of starch, so it's important to give it a nice wash. But we may not actually achieve what people often say is removing starch. What we're doing is we're definitely releasing and exposing starch, but we want to make sure that our rice is nice and clean, and Auntie's given it a lovely wash. We're using white basmati rice. You could use the rice of your choice. So white basmati rice is quite quick to cook. You could use brown basmati. It's got the beautiful long grain and still quite aromatic flavour, but it's got more fibre. You could use long grain, you could use your easy cook, so whichever takes your fancy. If you're looking for more fibre, which I do recommend, then we recommend that you do try brown rice or brown basmati rice. Nice long grain, still quite a light grain, kind of nutty flavour. We're not adding salt to our rice, again, only because we are talking about lowering salt, but if you're on that salt journey at home, think about reducing the amount of salt in your rice. Okay, so literally we're pot watching at the moment, so if there are any questions on the chat, please do, any questions at all coming up on the chat? Awesome, okay. So we will just allow you to take a loo break, get yourself a drink, while we watch this beautiful dish take shape. So if you can see now, if I can just get our camera to come a little bit closer, you can see that the rundown now is taking shape. So beyond the bubbles, you can see now it's not as white as it used to look. It's starting to sort of yellow up a little bit. Looking lovely. So imagine, especially those of you that like more vegetables, if you wanted to add more vegetables, imagine the beautiful colours, because we do eat with our eyes, don't we? Imagine having some lovely carrots in there, some lovely chocho. Some people would even put okra in there, have some okra in there, some aubergine, some courgettes. What a beautiful, beautiful Friday evening meal. Alrighty, so we're boiling our rice. I'm clearing stuff out of the way. I'm sure. And Davison, oh, thank you. Davison's keeping handy here, he's earning his keep. Yeah, this is what we like to see, isn't it, ladies? Yeah. Thank you. Can I have my teaspoon back, please? Thank you. Awesome, awesome. It does smell amazing in here. It really, really does. It does. Lovely. Only if you could smell it. So, fish. It's good to go, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought we'll just wait to reduce this a little bit more. Yeah, just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more. It's cooking nicely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cooking nicely. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, imagine yourself on the beach, yeah? Okay. Imagine yourself on the beach. And imagine that you are just about to have this beautiful meal. The sun is shining, the steel pans are playing in the background, and I know you're thinking, yeah, right, November, cold November in the UK. Okay, lovely, thank you. Some really good questions coming in. So I think we've got a question about how long it can be stored. So the cooked rundown, obviously we would wait for it to cool down. You can put it in your Tupperware and store it in the freezer. To be honest, I wouldn't store it in the freezer for probably more than a month. And the reason for that is, I mean, in 2 weeks, I think it will still be at its prime. But what we do get when we store our food in the freezer for too long is ice damage. And what ice damage does is it adds additional water to your food and dilutes out the nutrients. And also, it can actually start to take away some of the taste. So a lot of us do use our freezers, and we do use it to store a lot of food. I guess just being aware of things like ice damage. If anything, it's a good dish to cook in bulk, keep in the freezer. 1 month maximum, I would say. I don't know, what do you think, Auntie Abby, in terms of freezing?
Yes. And you want to put anything it in the freezer, make sure you date it so you don't mix it up with other things that is coming up. Probably you left it in one corner and you cook another one. You have to make sure that you use the first one first.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Auntie Abby, definitely. So it's the dating and making sure that it's labelled right. Yeah. So in terms of rice, I guess, you know, some people do bulk cook their carbs as well. They bulk cook their rice again, and they can freeze it. I guess as long as you've got the date. Auntie, do you think that that's fine too? Yeah, again, I think we're just trying to avoid ice damage. You know, with freezer, I find that when the food is in the freezer for too long, it starts to taste different, you know, and it's a bit waterlogged. So yes, bulk cooking is good, especially, you know, during cost of living. If you're buying in bulk, sometimes it's cheaper, but just also balance that with not leaving it too long in the freezer, because guess what? Nobody eats it, they don't enjoy it, and it's a waste of money. Thank you. Yay.
Just about to add the fish.
Lovely. Okay, awesome. And our rice is cooking nice as well. Shall I get you a cover for that pot, Auntie?
This place.
So you want the fish?
So we're just about to add the fish. Nice portion.
So what's your background, Auntie?
I'm from Africa.
What part?
From Nigeria, West Africa.
Oh, what a coincidence! Auntie Abby is a very accomplished chef. And I have to say she's quite well known. For those that know Auntie Abby will know that she's a very accomplished chef, and coming from West Africa is nothing to do with her ability or inability to cook international dishes. I will say that because I've seen her in other environments and she really is a force to be reckoned with. Lovely, quick one. You'll notice how Auntie Abby gently put the fish in the pot and leave it alone. Leave it alone. The problem with fish is sometimes we go in there and we stir and it's broken and it doesn't look nice when we're serving it. So leave it alone, just leave it and allow the flavors to caress the fish and say, hello, how are you? It's cooking. Awesome. It's cooking. Auntie, I can't find a cover. I can't find it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's like when you cook in someone else's kitchen. So obviously with the rice, we wanted to cover it so that we can get the steam, yes. So, do you know what I love? Did you carry that to mind? What I love about basmati rice is he will never fall your hand. To fall your hand is to disgrace you. Basmati rice will never disgrace you. It will cook so fast. If you've got some visitors and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've got some rundown, what shall I do? Boil basmati rice, he will never disgrace you. Look, it's almost ready. It's actually almost ready. Basmati rice cooks very quickly. That's why I like it. What type of rice do you use, Auntie?
I like basmati rice because if you boil water within the 5 minutes, rice is ready.
It's done, isn't it? Yeah. And don't you just love basmati with, I love basmati with like, look at that. Isn't that lovely?
Not too late with the cover.
No, it's still all right with the
Quite too
cover. It's quite big.
Yeah.
Well, I think we may be okay. We'll
Cool.
captain the
Let's
steam.
go.
Yeah.
Cool, no problem.
Awesome. So I'm going to, I might have to wash this again.
Change the water.
I'll change the water, yeah. Thank you. Davison is earning his keep to life. So yeah, we've got about 10 more minutes actually for the fish. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 10 minutes. Awesome. So do you know what? Let Siri work for his money, yeah? So an alarm will go off when it's 10 minutes are done. So we're just letting our rundown now caress the fish. I guess we probably have that. Do you want to cover for this one as well? Yeah, should be okay? Awesome. People often say to me, what happens if, the fish shouldn't do? Awesome, but otherwise I think it's, we're good to go. Lovely. So on the recipe card that Davison would have sent to you, you'll probably see that it says served with rice or baked plantain. A little bit about plantain, apart from the fact that it's really expensive right now. And do you know what? Everything is expensive, isn't it? And now I'm on my soapbox here, but I have to stay. I will die on this mountain. You know what? Plantain is so expensive these days. But one of the great ways to have it is baked in its skin. So you wash the plantain, wrap it with some foil, put it in the oven, and bake it. So again, we remember we've been talking about keeping our cultural dishes, but making them, thank you Davison, making them healthier. And one of the ways is to avoid all of that frying. So baking is a great way of getting the goodness of the plantain, and particularly with a dish like rundown. So baking it in its skin, it can take a bit of a while. Auntie, how long do you think it would take to bake your plantain in the oven?
If you put it over on for 5 to 10 minutes for 160 degree, you just take it 5 to 10 minutes. You peel it,
Not bad.
you just spray the oil, and you put any type of herbs you like.
I love that. There you go. So, a lot quicker than me. For some reason, while this is cooking, the plantain is ready. So not frying. So we've got our plantain, we've got the skin, we've pierced the skin. We can spray it with some spray oil. Remember, the spray oil is much less oil. Auntie Abby said add some herbs, bake it in there, serve it with your rundown. Perfect way. Quick one about plantain. The darker your plantain gets, the more sugar is in it. I have nothing against, cooking with the dark plantain, but just do understand, particularly if you're living with a chronic illness like diabetes and you're managing your blood glucose, just remember that if it's darker, it's the same with bananas as well. You know when your bananas are really dark, they tend to have a lot more reduced sugars in there. It's the same with the plantain. So the best way to buy your plantain is to buy it when it's just turning yellow. And some people have it roasted. And the rice is... what other ways do you cook your plantain?
I have quite adapted.
We love it. Now, and it's not rocket science. It's 5 to 7 years, and it's a great way to feel, which is great. I can see Auntie Abby is tasting, so me too. I am tasting.
Cheers.
She said cheers. Let me too do cheers. Can I have permission, chef?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. You know, the fish is definitely cooking. She cleaned the fish with lemon, but I saw that you squeezed it and you allowed the lemon to go into the fish. So when I tasted it now, the fish tastes, it's not missing salt, the salt is not missing. And I think sometimes lemon is a little bit underestimated when we're trying to manage our salt. So quick trick, if you're thinking, I want to manage the salt in my food, use the lemon and allow the juices to really run in. I'm quite impressed actually how, I don't know, it tastes quite fragrant and quite pleasant. I thought, the fish is going to make it bland. I can taste the fish, but remember I said that this brim is quite a gentle fish. The red brim has a little bit more of a fishy taste. If Mr. Mackerel was here, the whole thing would be tasting of mackerel. So mackerel is quite a deep flavour. We decided to use brim tonight just to get an idea of what happens when you use a very light fish. So sea brim will take on the flavour of whatever you use. If it's lemon, it takes it nicely. The coconut, it will take it very nicely, and it's not fighting back. Mackerel is sort of fighting back, saying, "Oh, I'm here." But I love the brim, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you're behind the camera, you don't know what you're missing tonight. I know I'm a meanie, aren't I? Lovely, really, really lovely. Awesome. So, what else? How else do you cook it? So we've got air frying plantain. I've talked about baking. How else would you cook your plantain?
You wash the plantain as a piece of whole, and cut it to the skin, and put it in the pot, and bring it to boil.
Love that.
10 minutes.
Love that.
Boiled plantain. So when you cooked, you can easily take the skin off.
Brilliant, and that's one of my favourite ways. So if you didn't hear that, Auntie Abby's saying, get your plantain, wash the skin, cut it into chunks, so a beautiful boiled plantain. The sweetness is amazing, isn't it? When you boil your plantain, it goes beautifully with rundown. Remember, because we want to manage our portions as well, we want to manage our carbs, so if we wanted to have rice and the plantain, we reduce the amount of rice to compensate for making room for the plantain. So the plantain and the rice both count for our carbohydrate. So if you're eating them together, you need to reduce one of them. It's not both of them. Jason actually had a plate. If you think about your plate, if you just empty the plate, take everything off. So imagine this is your plate and you want to manage your portions. We'll cut the plate in half. That quarter could be rice. If you want to have plantain as well, you have to remove some of the rice. Maybe your beans, maybe tofu, or if you're having a chicken dish. So remember, half of your plate should be your veg. It could be your rice or your carb, so your rice or your plantain, or your if you're eating yams, or if you're having something else, your bami, and then the carb, if we're managing our weight. If you're not managing your weight, because I know that not everybody online, up there, you'd have 3/3, 1/3 for your carbs, 1/3 for your protein. Awesome. And the tasting team will tell you what it's all about here tonight. We'll tell you what it's all about here tonight. Yay. I didn't bring my Tupperware, you know. Sorry? Ladies and gentlemen, it's a moment of truth. Drum roll. Indeed.
Presentation.
I am such an happy person. Ooh. Ooh. It's lovely, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, hello, hello, hello. That is gorgeous. Oh, lovely. Love it. Oh, beautiful. So just give our camera a chance to capture that. All right. So, in terms of portion control would be, we'll just wait for our camera to come, Auntie, so that she can see. So Auntie has actually bought exactly what we need to show you in terms of portion control. Now, no laughing, that is a portion. And remember what we're saying and what we're omitting tonight, your carbohydrate portion, and imagine having lots of veggies around it and then having your rundown just as that other quarter on the plate. So again, you may be on a health journey and you're thinking, that would never fill me up. This is what we should be looking for if you're trying to lose weight. This should be your carbohydrate. Imagine in your first, and then put your protein on. You've got the recipe now, you've received it from Davison. We can't wait to see your creation. It'll be great, wouldn't it, Davison, if people cooked it? Oh my goodness. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So come on in. You guys, come and talk to us. Awesome. Okay, but yeah, we'll just give these a little bit of a wash. Thank you. This beautiful view. If I can ask Auntie Abby to, perhaps if you can put a little bit on a plate. And Davis and I will just do a taste, but we'll let people enjoy, drinking this view. We won't spoil that view. And Auntie Abby will come to you, and we'll get some from the pot. So we won't take it from there because we don't want to spoil the view. Just let people enjoy. Thank you, Auntie. That's for Davis. Oh, I'll wait. So we can. So with you. Oh. Oh. Simple but nice. So we'll go to the. So we'll all come round here. Lovely. About this one was the simplicity of Auntie Abby's cooking, really. Probably like this one the best. I hope you can see, guys, especially those of you who coconut milk put in the pimento. I tell you what, this is delicious. Bon appetit. Loving, beautiful dish. And remember, the Caribbean isn't a country, it's 30. I did read somewhere that oil down is the national, so you can enjoy it. We know that and just a little reduced salt actually. Reduce 4 sprays of spray oil. You can buy this in the stores. I'm not advertising. Herbs to it, brim. So brim today per portion.